Welcome back, bienvenue, and all that jazz. It's time to talk about some books. So I was looking around my library the other day and was noticing that I have accrued more books than I thought in the recent months-ish. I mean, it's not all that recent. I don't know the last time I did a book haul, maybe in like October, November. So it's been like 3-4 months. So I guess this is like a seasonal book haul. So I split it up into two parts. So today I'm going to be talking about the ebooks that I've gotten, as well as doing like a unboxing slash haul of a box that Penguin Random House or Penguin Teen, whatever, somebody at Penguin sent along because I was able to join their kind of like ARC slash reading slash whatever team. And so they sent this around the holidays and I haven't opened it because I'm a terrible person. So I'm going to rectify that today. So without any further ado, we have like, I don't know, 30 something books to talk about today. So let's jump in. So we'll do our ebooks first. I have this like handy dandy notebook. So Elle is the sweetest. When I visited her over the summer, she got me a couple of notebooks that are like, this one's like Arizona themed and another one is like chemistry themed. And so I've been using them for like booktube things. So that's, if I'm looking down, it's because I'm reading my list because I didn't want to just like flip through my Kindle to find everything. And I think I got everything. If you sent me something and I forgot to mention it, I'm sorry, but also feel free to DM me and remind me because then I'll haul it in the next time I do a haul. So in no particular order, let's just go through. So first off, I got The Price of Power by Michael Michel. The author was kind enough to send me this. This is a brand new self-pub release. It is the start to an epic, dark adult fantasy series, and it's just a lot of fun. So if you like very slow burn, very character driven, where we have kind of like 4 different POVs that eventually come together in like the latter, I don't know, third of the book, you really start to see how all these things are going to like start weaving together. So if that's kind of your jam, if you're kind of like a Song of Ice and Fire or like kind of low magic, very character forward, then I think you'd really like The Price of Power. Then the publisher was kind enough to send me Spellbound by F.T. Lukens. This is an upcoming, I don't know if it's young adult or adult. I should really look into things a little bit better, shouldn't I? But here we are. And this is a male queer urban fantasy. I don't know. In all honesty, it's the cover that caught my eye, and so I asked for it. Then I also got The Tyranny of Faith by Richard Swan. This is book 2 in the Empire of the Wolf trilogy series. I don't know. Book 1 came out last year, The Justice of Kings, and for me, it was good, but not great. Like, I thought that the magic was kind of cool, but we didn't get a whole lot of it. There was some, like, necromancy aspects, and, like, the voice that kind of, he can almost, like, assert his will over people with his voice. And it was like very murder mystery, and then towards the end we were getting unveilings of some maybe plots against the Empire. And so I'm like intrigued enough to continue, but we'll see. Because like I said, The Justice of Kings was okay for me. Like I think I gave it like 3.75 or something. It wasn't quite a 4-star, but it was not bad by any means. So if you kind of want a little like mystery focused fantasy romp, then The Justice of Kings is great. And stay tuned for how The Tyranny of Faith goes. Then I also got The Battle Drum by Sarah El Arifi. This is book 2 in the Ending Fire trilogy. The first book was The Final Strife. So I have a whole spoiler-free review video of The Final Strife that I'll link if you want more details about this trilogy. The Battle Drum is everything that I loved about The Final Strife, but cranked up to 11. Twists, turns. It's one of those books where you're just constantly like making theories and guessing like what is actually happening, what is going on, and it's just like a lot of fun. And so that one I buddy read with Jashana, and it was just so much fun because we were just like messaging back and forth, making predictions, and then seeing who was right and what was wrong, and just it was just a fun time. Then I also got a copy of Engines of Chaos by R.S. Ford. This is book 2 to the, I don't know what the series is called, To the Age of Uprising. So book 1 is Engines of Empire, and I know very little about this. I got it because my friend Elle screams about this at least this first book all the time, and says it's kind of a mix of Final Fantasy 12 and I think she said Final Fantasy 12 meets Game of Thrones? I don't totally remember, but I was intrigued, and so I now have the first 2 books, so I should really get on reading that. Then the next book is Ogres by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I got this ebook because it was part of like my 12 by 12 challenge that I'm doing. So if you don't know, I've started like a new annual thing, I think, because I've been having kind of fun of it with it, where I get to post on my community tab and my Instagram and my Twitter and all the places and ask for recommendations of books that you guys would want to recommend for me. And then I let RN Jesus pick 12 of them, and those 12 went into a mug that I pull 1 book out per month. And so the book of the month for January was Ogres. And I went into it not knowing it was going to be sci-fi. and it was very like theme heavy sci-fi, which was fine. It was also a novella, which is a tough sell because you don't really get time to like sit with characters or do anything like that or really have like major revelations in plot. It really has to be kind of punchy in a way that just made me feel like it wasn't enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know if it's a novella thing or if it's an Adrian Tchaikovsky thing or if it's just ogres in particular. I will try more Tchaikovsky. I think there's another one that ended up in the mug of like Guns of the Dawn or something. And I also had City of Last Chances. So I don't know. We'll see, but I have ogres. Then I also got a copy of Song of Silver, Flame Like Night by Amelie Wen Zhao. This is a new, it's like older young adult. Like it has some of those classic tropes that I think if you like young adult, you would be familiar with. And if you don't usually like young adult, I think they're done in a way that even adults would appreciate them. It's very dark, very Chinese mythology, but I need to stop giving full synopses and thoughts of all of these. At least I've read a lot of them, right? So I mean, like, props to me. Then I also got sent, I won a giveaway from a fictional escapist. Chris, he was doing a giveaway for a bunch of different indie self-pub books at the end of last year. And so I won a copy of the first 4 books in the Lunaria series, I think. So I got Maroda, Issa, Amara, and Palom by L.L. McRae. All I know is she seems very lovely, and she says that there's like dragons in all of her books, and I really don't need to know much more than that, do I? I mean, dragons, I'm there. Then the author was kind enough to send me a copy of their book Vevin Song, which I believe is coming out really soon. It's kind of dystopian fantasy from what I gather. And this is by Jonathan Neves? I don't know. I'm really sorry. I tried. And I really don't know much more than that. I kind of, like, dystopian, I think kind of mostly passed me by. Except for, like, obviously I read The Hunger Games, and I never really read, like, Allegiant or any of that other, like, really popular dystopian stuff. But recently with The Final Strife had a lot of dystopian elements that I really enjoyed. And so this book sounded cool and I really liked the green cover. And so I said, sure, send it along. And in a similar vein, I also got sent a copy of No Heart for a Thief by James Lloyd Doolin. And this is another self-pub book. And I really don't know much. I've been hearing kind of rave reviews. I've been seeing them kind of trickle in about people kind of loving this book. And so I'm excited. I really don't know any of the inspirations for it. I just know it looked really cool. Like, how shallow am I? But you wanna know what? Shh. Then, after I read the first 2 books in the Vagrant Gods trilogy by David Dalglish, that's the Bladed Faith and the Sapphire Altar, I just loved them, and then I've been interacting with David over on the Twitter. And so he was kind enough to send me a copy of the first book of one of his other trilogies. It's called Soul Keeper, and I hear that it's very epic fantasy. It's kind of one of those things where magic is kind of gone, something happens, magic is back, and now people are kind of dealing with the repercussions of that, and that can be a lot of fun. And I just hear it like just builds and gets super epic, and I'm here for it because I really liked his action and his way of having stakes and just the epic levels of shenanigans that were happening in the Vagrant Gods. And so I'm really excited to try this other Keepers trilogy as well. Then the next one is because I saw the author posting all over Twitter, and so I don't know much about historical fiction or this era in particular, so I got a copy of Yellow Sky Revolt by Baptiste Pinson Wu, and this is 3 Kingdoms Chinese historical fiction, and I don't know what that means, but the cover looked really cool, and it kind of reminded me of Dynasty Warriors, and so I said, I don't know that I normally like historical fiction, but I'm happy to give it a shot. And so he sent it my way, and we'll see. I still don't know if I like historical fiction, but I need to actually try some more historical fiction to make that choice. So then I also got a copy of In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. This is his upcoming book. I don't totally remember when it comes out. I'm sorry. It is like a Pinocchio retelling, but it almost seems like Pinocchio meets WALL-E because there's like adorable robots and stuff. So I don't know. TJ Klune and I have a complicated past because I read In the House in the Cerulean Sea and loved it. And I read Under the Whispering Door and liked, but didn't love. And so right now we're like 1 for 2. And so I'm really hoping that In the Lives of Puppets is in the lane of In the House in the Cerulean Sea and not in the lane of Under the Whispering Door, because I didn't like that as much. Then, like I mentioned earlier, I got the Sapphire Altar by David Dalglish. Then I also have a copy of The Adventures of Amina El Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. So this is her new, I don't know if it's going to be a trilogy or a series or what. It's set in the same world as the Deva Bod trilogy, so that's City of Brass. and the other two books, whatever they're called. And then, but I think it's like an earlier time period or a later time period. I don't know. It sounds like an older protagonist. There's cats. There's pirate shenanigans without all the annoying seafaring jargon, according to my friend Jashana, so I'm hopeful. Then, here it is. So, I got a copy of City of Last Chances by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This came out at the end of last year, and it is a standalone adult fantasy, very focused on revolution, so I don't know. I have it, so I'll definitely try it at some point. Then I also have a copy of Empire of Exiles by Aaron M. Evans. This is another start to a new series trilogy. Who knows? And this author in particular, I remember because she used to write a lot of books in the Forgotten Realms, which if you don't know, I love the Forgotten Realms. And if you've been intimidated and don't know where to start the Forgotten Realms, I have a whole video about that for you that I'll link for you, for your pleasure, so that you can tackle this world that I love so much. But she started her own new series, and it sounds like there's mystery elements, and I've really been enjoying mystery lately, so I really need to prioritize and get to that. Then I also got a copy of The Blood of Outcasts by D.A. Smith. This one I think is like maybe Asian-inspired self-pub fantasy. I'm judging based on the cover, which we all know we're not supposed to do, but I think in this case I'm correct. So, but I don't know. The author was lovely and it sounded really nice, so there you go. Then I also got The Eye of Everfell by Lewis Knight. Another self-pub fantasy that I thought sounded intriguing, and I no longer remember anything about the synopsis. I feel like my Kindle is kind of where things go to die and for me to forget, so I've been trying to be more intentional. That's why I'm doing this ebook haul, to remind myself of the things that are on there. And I also got the first 5 books in the Cradle series by Will White. This is like progression fantasy, which I don't totally know what that means, but I loved watching like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z growing up, Yu Yu Hakusho, Inuyasha, so like I feel like when people talk progression fantasy, they usually say like the closest thing is something kind of like a Dragon Ball Z. So I like Dragon Ball Z, so we'll see. And then the last ebook that I got was A Touch of Light by Tiago Abdallah, which is another self-pub fantasy. Griffins, beautiful cover. The author seems lovely, and he recently won like some kind of self-pub award for it. So props to you. Congrats, Tiago, if you ever watch my videos. And that will do it for the ebook portion of this haul. So now, let me grab the box. So I also got sent this pretty hefty box from Penguin. So let's see what's in here, shall we? I think it's supposed to be like a mix of genre. I think they're all in the YA age range, I think. I don't know, but so let's just let's see what's in here, shall we? So first up, we have When We Make It, Sorry, I think I was hitting the tripod with the box. A Nuyorican? I don't know what that means. So it sounds like maybe it's contemporary fiction. I don't know. It sounds like a first generation Puerto Rican kind of coming into their own in Brooklyn and dealing with pressures of gentrification and toxic masculinity in the Latin culture. So like, I don't know. It's not something that I typically read, but I mean, I have it now. So if I'm ever in the mood for something like this, I'll definitely check it out. And if that sounds good to you, please look up more. And if you know what a Nuyorican means, I'll Google after this. But if you know, feel free to share. And can we just talk about, like, I hate these things. These little, what are they, like squiggles? Like, I'm always just worried that my cats are gonna get them and somebody's gonna choke and die, and then it's a whole thing. So, yes. Then up next, they also sent Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I feel like I've heard about him, and I don't know what else he's written. I feel like he's very popular. I don't know what he writes, so I'm going to read the synopsis and be right back. So it sounds like maybe contemporary mystery. I don't know, like, I know very little about any of these books. They just sent like a box of stuff that I've never heard of. Like, they just were like, do you want us to send you a box of a bunch of mixed genres? And I was like, sure. So if you've read any of these and you think that I would like them, or you think that I should give them a shot, please let me know. Then they also sent Some Girls Do by Jennifer Dugan. I am assuming that this is sapphic, because if it's not, then this cover is a friggin' lie. Yeah, so it sounds like maybe a high school athlete at a Catholic school kind of coming into her own coming out story. The cover is really cute, and I don't read enough like sapphic or LGBT stuff, so this was definitely like a contender for something that I'd definitely be interested in. Then they sent Last Night at the Telegraph Club. This is by Melinda Lowe. So this sounds like another awesome like sapphic thing. It's like historical fiction sapphic. It's a lesbian in 1954 with this bar called the Telegraph Club. I mean, I assumed that it was LGBT when I saw Stonewall on here, and if you don't know what the Stonewall riots are, shame on you and you should go Google. So thank you, Penguin, for sending me all the LGBT stuff, like hooking me up. Then this next one, oh, I think I've heard of this. Oh, come here. No, the squiggles are escaping. Stay in the box. So the next book is An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. This is book 1. I want to say it's a young adult fantasy quartet. That's all I know. I don't know what it's about. I've heard about it. I think that I know some people who really like this, but will I? Do you think that I would like An Ember in the Ashes? I did enjoy, like, Throne of Glass. I do enjoy me some YA fantasy, so maybe I'll love it and want the whole quartet. And it sounds like maybe it's, like, rebelling against the evil empire, too, which is a trope that we all know I love. Cool. Then they also sent The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas. This looks like maybe horror? Okay, so this one sounds kind of intense. It sounds like we're dealing with themes of racism. There was a school shooting, and this main character can see into the world of the dead, and so that sounds very heavy. But I like some paranormal stuff sometimes, so I'm intrigued, and it seems pretty short, so maybe this will be like on the Halloween docket, because it sounds kind of Halloween-y, but it also sounds very heavy. Then they sent Dark and Shallow Lies by Ginny Myers Sane. I haven't heard anything, but this cover is really pretty. I think there's like a crocodile and like a bunch of flowers. So this one sounds like maybe paranormal mystery, and I'm very intrigued. So they sent me a couple good, like, kind of creepy paranormal mystery type things, so that's pretty cool. It sounds like there's a town full of psychics, there was a murder, but somehow none of these psychics have found out what's going on, so we're kind of investigating, and it's like a small town in Louisiana, so it sounds like maybe small town murder mystery. Cool. Then this cover looks very familiar. I think maybe Elle read this book. House of Hollows by Crystal Sutherland. Or she was just showing this off because she was talking about like the trend of having the girl with the flowers in the face or the vines in the face. So this is another one that sounds kind of maybe paranormal, maybe horror, maybe spooky. Like 2 girls went missing and then came back, and since they've been coming back, their physical appearances are changing, eye color, hair color, etc. And so now one of them is older and in high school and trying to fit in. So I wonder if we're going to try to delve into the mystery of what happened to them. I don't know, but then this next one, this is so funny. Shoshana is going to flip and tell me that I need to read this immediately, because this is one of her favorite books of like all time that I've been meaning to read for so long. This is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. And obviously, it has a very eye-catching cover. I think there is LGBT rep in here from what I remember her saying, but I also remember her saying it's beautifully written but very heavy. But now I have no excuse to not read this book because I literally have a copy of it. So love that for me. And I think this is another book. The last one in here is another book that I feel like I hear Shoshana talk about. And this is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Audier. I don't know what this is, so I'm gonna read the synopsis. BRB. So this sounds like maybe fantasy. I don't know. It sounds like there is kind of like an evil or like terrible monarch type figure, and we have our character trying to survive by telling him stories, maybe, and trying to figure out, is he really like this murderous evil person that he has been painted to be? Who knows? So it's like a boy king. It sounds like there's maybe a strong romantic element. Shoshana and I tend to have a similar threshold for we want like more plot focused fantasy romance. So we want like a good fantasy with strong romantic elements. And so if she loved this, maybe I will. Maybe it will be too flowery for me because she also likes like a more ornate writing style than I do. But I'm excited. In this cover, I really like this cover. I really like the color of it. But that will do it for the first part of my book haul. So please let me know if you've read any of these books, if I should prioritize any of the ones that I haven't read yet. I would love to hear from you in the comments down below. And just a huge thank you to Penguin for sending me all these books. Like, that was so generous, and like, thanks. If anybody from Penguin ever watches this. Other than that, if you want to leave an emoji, maybe leave a sun for I'll Give You the Sun, or something sky related, whatever strikes your fancy. And if you want to, like I said, let me know about any of these books that I don't know anything about. If you think that I would really particularly like them, I'd love to know. But other than that, please give this video a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already for more bookish shenanigans like this from moi. Other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!